Okay, I'm on the right heading now.
That makes one of us. Did you use 9 when you did numbers?
Oh, I sure did, and 8.
Nice.
Bat signal.
Should I zoom?
I don't know that we have Zoom permission, do we?
Unknown. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually looks like the bat signal.
Actually, because it's so steady, I'll zoom with Argus if that's okay.
Go for it.
Got the artificial swimming pool turned up. That might be a bit aggressive. Let me come wide. Yeah.
Shannon, this is Darlene. How copy?
Rocks. And potential cliff.
This is Darlene to ISC. Looking for Shannon. Over.
Oh, what's up, D?
Shannon, can you get to a phone and can you drop me a text? What phone number we can give you a shout from the ship?
Ooh.
Very pretty. Nice.
Sorry, you dropped out there. You want a phone number for what?
Give me a phone number where I can reach you. Or else if I can call your cell, that would be great. I'm going to give you a call in 5 minutes. How copy?
Cell phone is perfect. Talk to you in 5.
Copy that.
Corals. Crinoids. Sponges. Anemones. We got everything. You can have rocks. There's one of those. It's not an anemone, it's like a tube worm, but it's not a tube worm.
Sea pen?
sorry.
No, it's a worm in a tube, but not a...
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. And I don't like when people call them tube worms.
Right, that's why I went with the worm in a tube.
A worm tube, not a tube worm.
Greg, beware of the rhubarb.
I'm not too far into the rhubarb.
I worry about you.
I mean, that's fair. I worry about me.
Yeah, your heading's 197. Should be
Yeah, even Miles thinks you're in the rhubarb.
Yeah, but I have to get back over in front of you.
Potential overhang.
I see it. Thanks, guys.
We're here to keep you safe.
Yeah, appreciate that. I know it's been a while since I've been in the seat. Josh said he's going to get yellow rubber for the sway limiter, so we don't have the. Yeah,
Brilliant.
fancy. It's
I
probably
bet
just.
that still happens.
I bet it's just painted yellow. That's a cool sponge.
We have a web viewer who wants to know if there's constant noise or static in the background on the ship.
There is constant noise on the ship,
Yep. My ears ring for a while after I get off the ship.
especially when Thor's running. It's named Thor, not because it's quiet.
Yeah, there's lots of machinery that that has to run constantly on the vessel. We have 3 electrical generators that need to run. We need to have at least 1 or 2 on. 1, I think. Yeah, at least 1 on at all times. That keeps our.
That's just the lights.
That's the lights and maybe a refrigerator and a freezer to keep the food from spoiling. But
Then we have air conditioners.
yeah,
we have
when you
fan
add the air
motors.
conditions, yeah,
Vehicles,
the vehicles.
the DP system.
Yeah, when we're fully powered up, do we run all 3 or do we just run on 2? When we're,
I don't know anymore.
I don't know.
I don't know
I
what
would
they
say
replaced over the
I
summer.
think they're all running, but we could do with one less.
Picnic unit.
But we like the overhead. It's a luxury. Sure, that makes sense. So yeah, we've got at least the electrical generators running, and then occasionally we'll also add on top of that the main engine, Thor.
Thor does not generate electricity. It
No,
is
no.
nothing
Thor
but
Thor
propulsion.
does nothing but spin.
No, I
the,
think he was just talking about
spin
for
the
noise.
screws, the propeller under the boat, the main propeller. Obviously, when we have ROV in the water, we're not using that engine, but when we retrieve the ROV and they are on deck,
Sometimes we use it.
yeah, we use it as our main engine to get us from point A to point B.
There is a presentation in Spain, of all places, but it's an American company that has produced a liquid that like comes in 5-gallon jugs that you can just sink any electronics into, and it works no problem. It's totally electrically isolated. Like you could put in an arc welder and nothing would happen. Clear liquid, and you know, since fan noise is one of your biggest power, like it's one of the largest noises from anything of your computer equipment, and one of the largest power draws in server rooms, that this is just like because then you could pump it out and pump it through a chiller.
You're using it as a surface coolant.
Right.
You still need a fan somewhere, but you could be more centralized.
Yeah, you would need to circulate the fluid by pushing
Right,
it.
you would need to circulate the fluid, but it makes a rack room quiet.
Well, yeah.
That'd be
You
nice.
know,
Then we wouldn't need these
all the AC.
for it to be an icebox
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah, really neat. And one of their focuses, because they figured that they're hoping to become really big and mainstream, is that it's totally biodegradable.
I was going to ask what the LD50 was on that.
Yeah, and in the guy's presentation, he just like sticks his hand in it and like drinks a handful of it. He's like, "Yeah, this is totally drinkable. No negative impacts on anything,
So it's water.
except it's non-conductive." But it is a heat transfer, and it's very similar to water.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a game changer.
Well, if you're running like a big server room, you know, that's a huge cost.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I hear tales of people who were interested in mining bitcoins and running racks and racks and racks of equipment, locating their facilities near sources of cool streams.
He said that Bitcoin miners are actually their the customers are like kind of helping them keep afloat while they bring their name out, and that's because they're running them in their bathtubs.
Haven't heard that one.
We just passed one of the
Markers?
no, I forget what they're called, but the
tunicates?
copper. No, there was the predatory tunicate, but there was a copper-colored worm. Kind of looks like just a bunch of amphoras, you know.
We have some information that has just come in. It says you can submerge a computer in mineral fuel. High purity water is non-conductive. Someone wants to know why we don't power the ship with a nuclear reactor.
A, very expensive. B, needs a lot of special training.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Also, old ship.
Also, old ship.
the level of safety required.
And the amount of power that we're using is not.
Can civilians do that?
I don't know if civilians can do that, but regardless, the amount of power that we're using does not
Warrant that.
warrant it. So.
That would be an interesting question. What is the smallest vessel that is nuclear powered? I'm sure it's a submarine. But
Yeah, I'd probably put it as a submarine.
But still,
that's still like 150 people.
Yeah, that's still probably 4 or 5 times longer than us. So
Off the edge of the world, Gabby.
See, I'd rather see us convert over to hydrogen and then just electrolysis the seawater, and there you go. Solar power electrolysis to hydrogen. But I don't think we could produce enough.
Somebody's asked if our lights can actually do any harm to any of the marine life.
The working theory is no.
Well, I'll buy that.
Yeah, you know, a lot of these creatures have never experienced the light before, and but they don't seem to have a negative reaction to the light. You know, like the fish don't run away from the light.
Yeah, it's like when we launched the other day, the surface minnows and fish followed us because they were obviously interested in the light because they had eyes that were sensitive to it, and they knew that the lights would also attract things that they might like to eat. So they followed us down to 550 meters, and then they just stopped. But yeah, below the, is it phototropic zone? Is that what it's called? I haven't seen much sea life react to the presence of light.
And that's relatively shallow.
Yeah, we're well below that.
We did have an octopus once. It was I think it was that yellow Dumbo octopus that kind of like curled its tentacles up over its eyes. But it's unsure whether that was a something it did naturally or whether that was a result of us being in the area.
15-meter rise in front of you.
Yeah. Okay. Someone has passed along some information. The Navy's NR-1 sub is probably the smallest nuclear-powered vessel.
That we know about.
Classified.
Yeah.
Right. But things like, I'm sure, remember the Cassini spacecraft that went to Saturn? That couldn't have been very large because it had to go up in a rocket.
So
No, right.
and
It had to be about,
Curiosity is nuclear powered.
yeah. I mean, those vessels are probably the size of, you know, vans or truck. You know, a 1.5 ton truck.
That's a decay heat electricity generation, not like a fission nuclear
It's
powered.
right. It's not active fission.
Yeah.
Was it Curiosity? I think it was Curiosity. There was a thing about how Curiosity on its birthday
Sings to itself?
Yeah, sings to itself, and it's like that's kind of like one of the saddest things I think I've ever heard. I mean, it's poetic, but it's kind of like alone on a world with nobody else and singing happy birthday to itself. He's stoic. He doesn't need anyone else.
Other information coming in. It seems nuclear-powered civilian ships are allowed, but there's a lot of regulation and red tape that make it unfeasible.
Yeah, it might make it actually very difficult to enter into different waters.
And there are some nuclear-powered Russian icebreakers. Yeah, that's right. Very good.
They don't cross the equator very much. It's pretty hard to keep them cool, I think, in the warmer water.
But those wouldn't be civilian.
No.
Yeah. No, those are not. No, those were.
The Polar Star is
Not nuclear.
Coast Guard?
It's Coast Guard.
The U.S. doesn't have a lot of icebreakers.
Nope.
I think we have 2.
The Healy may or may not count. I know the Sea and the Star do, but the Sea has been taken out of commission and is being used to refit the Star.
Right. It's supposed to be the backup.
But there's a new one in the works.
Is there? I didn't know that there was. Is it?
I've seen drawings.
The same class as the Sea and the Star?
I couldn't tell you. I've seen drawings, though. It's a monster.
Because I know Russia and China have a lot of icebreakers.
Yeah, we sure don't.
I wonder who made the decision of 5 and 8.
Excuse me?
Well, the sea stars are things of 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of corals are in divisions of 8. You have the octocorals. There's some, I mean, there are definitely some persingids and some other like sun stars that are totally out in the rhubarb as far as number of arms. But like that little guy's got 8, right? So it's for the most
guy
part
coming up has got 5.
right. For the most part, it's 8 and 5.
Yeah.
So, like,
Who made this decision?
Yeah. More like, how did we get to this conclusion?
I mean, there obviously must be some advantage to it.
Or it's just a local minimum of energy. I mean, an advantage to some extent, but doesn't have to be globally advantageous. Like, I just got stuck there. It's really hard
That's
to
the worm
develop
that
more arms or less arms
It
or
was
something.
a disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly.
polychaete going off
It wasn't
screen.
like starfish that had 6 arms had so much of a better go of it.
Might have been a battle royale between the 6
6
arms and the 5
4
arms. And
It's like the Sneetches with the stars and the no stars
yeah.
upon Mars. Miles knows what I'm saying.
Right, Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
sure is. It's about tolerance.
It is.
Okay, another question from our viewers.
Are
Would
you
it be-
skipping over the puns?
All right, this
I'm
is
just curious.
kind of in a local
I-
valley, and we're going to head up
Are you skipping over
for
the
a while.
sneeches?
probably 40 meters.
I plead
so.
the fifth.
Mm.
Would it be
Oh, he doesn't like
Ah.
puns.
5 stars, though.
Maybe we should have you sit, Argus.
Would it be possible to find a way for the ROVs to be remotely controlled despite the difficulties of radio waves underwater?
Well, they are remotely controlled, but they're controlled through the tether,
Yeah.
right? So there's still a remotely operated vehicle, ROV. In order to... I think the truth is, at this point, we don't have the technology to try and transfer that amount of information acoustically.
Not acoustically, but you can do it optically over short distances.
Over short distances.
That's
but over, like,
incredibly high bandwidth. I
Yeah.
mean, we're essentially doing it optically now.
but to do it...
We
yeah,
are doing
but
it
We are
optically.
doing it optically now, and we're running through... We have rails. We're keeping it between the rails.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're talking about wireless, so I mean, AUVs are controlled with acoustic modems. Often, you can the autonomous vehicles make a certain number of the decisions themselves, and then rely on people on ships to send them additional instructions periodically or check in acoustically.
Right, but it's still general. Like, you're not getting the side scan data back
Right.
acoustically, and you're
Right.
not. So
And the other problem is if you're operating in like a wireless sort of mode, you need to carry all your power on board, which means that it's very difficult to do something like run a hydraulic system. So your sampling becomes limited. Your mission duration becomes limited. All sorts of things, all sorts of operating parameters change.
right, like the best reason for a dive to end is because we've completed the tasks
We're
set
full.
to us.
Yeah,
Or
currently because the vehicles are operating super well, we come up because we've just finished science and we can stay
Yeah.
down for days.
Touch wood.
But if you were battery powered, then you would have to basically make your dive plans to the extent of your battery. And if you look at Alvin, there is a lot of that. That's personnel and battery limited.
Right, and then you have to spend 12 hours charging them every night,
Right.
which means you need to find something else to do with your ship time.
Polykeet is the word I was looking for. You know, those like coppery bronze ones? Yeah, there've been a bunch.
Hey,
Well, you can go back to backseat driving. I'm fine with that.
a little to the left.
Going left.
Actually, I meant right.
It's okay. I'm
But you could
dyslexic. I
you
had it
c-
right to begin
Okay,
with.
but you could fly a little bit farther up off the bottom and maybe, you know, like, we're actually supposed to be going about 175 as you're heading.
He
and
called in 180.
Yeah, we're doing 180.
Oh, okay. Well, in
Boom,
that case,
that's
then
2.
you're about 0.5 off. And I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And it's just not how I
There we
would
go.
do it.
180. Oh, oh,
It's-
oh God.
Greg,
0.5 off again.
that is not how I would do it.
Are your hands crossed? Do you have
No,
the-
no,
yeah.
no, no. I can do that in just a second. I
You got to get the lean going.
gotta winch in.
Hey, Miles, I got a question from ISC.
Go ahead.
They're wondering what the time to target to GT2 might be.
Current ship time is 3.5 mics. Hercules time's over an hour.
Okay, good copy. So we're probably going to make it only, what, like 3/4 of the way there before we have to start ascending. Is that about right?
Yes. The ship is 560 meters away. You know, whenever we stop, there will be sort of 20 or so minutes of settling out before we can recover.
Okay. Thanks, Miles.
So the easiest question on there is, what was today's snack?
Chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
Wait, how did you not know that? Didn't you go eat some?
Oh, I knew. I was just inviting.
Just making conversation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured the front row was racking up too many points.
So you're like, back row, they
Yeah.
can talk about cookies.
Throw them up throw them up a wiffle ball so they could knock it out the park.
You know what? Can I just tell you, like last year we had those chocolate and peanut butter cookies that were all gooey.
Ooh.
Like,
oh, I feel like we're
dude, they didn't show up this year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm disappointed. I haven't seen them yet either. I've never seen them.
Oh, they were. I have a picture. That's how good they were. I have a photo. I was thinking of kind of printing it out, like using.
That's delightful.
Yeah, I was gonna just tack it up in the kitchen. Just be like, what happened to these?
We covered that yesterday. That's for Instagram.
I'll haul that out. A throwback. Throwback pic.
Okay.
Exactly.
That would be cute.
Did you have any of the phyllo dough and like cream cake that they make?
The what? Say again?
It's like a phyllo dough and some kind of nice cream cake. Oh, it's.
When did that come out? Did it come out yet?
I've had it once this year. I don't remember when it was.
Wait, that's not fair. You just teased me. Like, damn it.
Yeah, don't be like that.
That's mean.
It
That
was
hurt
not
me.
This cruise?
It was not this cruise.
Their cheesecake, yum.
Oh, he's been killing it with the cheesecake.
Yes.
They spread Nutella on the
God,
crust
that was
before they made it this last
good.
time.
And
oh my god.
Yeah.
Arlene, this is the IFC. Do you copy?
Yeah, hold on.
No.
I got that, Chris. Just stand by. So, quick question about 1700. Are we going to conduct this? Are we able to conduct this survey until 1700, or do we have to start? Actually, I don't understand your question. Rather than be ready to start recovery at 1700, I'm assuming we're going to go right till 1700, stop, and then pack up and take 20 minutes and then ascend. Is that about right?
What do we need to do to pack up?
Well, I guess that's up to the pilots on whether they could get in recovery position where they are. Whether they wait for it to settle out or not is up to them.
Okay. Let's just
My question, I heard Miles say that they had to settle out before recovery.
I think don't really need to.
So, Chris, just a rolling
Thank you.
1700. We should be good till then. We'll evaluate closer to that moment. But yeah, we should be able to roll right up until then.
So we'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think we're going to take this fish out with our lasers.
Stop. So I'm trying to be more chatty because Samantha's not up here, and so we're on our own. Like she's going to be working.
And it's staying on track.
I know, right?
I was just about to increase the power.
That's kind of funny, Miles. It's like when you know that your parent's going to come, then you're a little naughty because you kind of want them to come and break it up. But when you know they're not going to come, and deal with you, you're just like, oh, I guess I'll be good then.
I just wanted the attention.
That's right. That's all. That's right. I guess we'll talk about science. Lasers are science.
You sound so defeated.
I really enjoyed sitting back here listening to the puns and the
We're gonna talk
jibber
about
jabber.
science.
Do you see the the online chat room
Negative.
from the back?
No.
Oh, it's just the front row.
Yeah.
Okay.
There isn't a single pun in there right now, I'll have you guys know.
Yeah.
I went and looked because I didn't trust Wayne to deliver us the puns.
Well,
He wouldn't have.
I've deleted them. So.
It was the first time I had actually looked at it, and and there were some very nice things in there.
Mhm.
Like your lasers are so sparkly. I would write that. I would tweet that.
I didn't see that in there, but I think that's what they meant.
They are pretty sparkly.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what they meant.
So tomorrow is officially World Ocean Day, which rolls
Nice.
into, yeah.
I
What are we
think
doing
today's
to
World
celebrate?
Oceans Day.
No, it's
Mapping.
tomorrow.
Is it?
Yeah. Tomorrow's the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize, because and next week is the week, but then June is the month.
Uh,
Yeah, I know.
They got a little overzealous.
Look at the size of that guy. That guy's pretty big, actually.
Is there something weird about our wraps?
Like, does it look like there is a wrap in the tether, or?
No, I mean, they're both positive 0.5.
Yeah.
I guess the 6.8 wraps are immaterial.
6.8 wrap should be 0.5.
They should be. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're backing down,
Yeah.
but the tether wrap.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. 'cause
Yeah, it does. That takes me a little while to twist at, like, to rotate out the reference frames in my head.
Yeah. It's all Argus twist.
Yep. It's all
Yeah,
in
I'm already
Argus.
set for recovery, really.
You sure are. Except for how far behind the ship you are.
So, so we're in transit, heading towards a waypoint that we're not expecting to reach before we come up.
correct.
But we're going to get as close as we can.
Okay.
Because if you reach for the stars, you won't come up with a pile of mud. You know,
I like
set
it.
the bar higher.
Says the PI. Wise words.
Actually, they're not mine. They're Leo Burnett's words. You know, but every mother's probably said that to their kid in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, Leo Burnett was like this advertising person. He founded Leo Burnett Advertising. That's a thing. But I liked it.
Yeah. it's
Video
good.
push in.
Pushing in. You want to take out this urchin?
No, we're going for the little polykeet.
Ah, this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Ooh, he's spiky. Let me get a little less light.
Look at all his keats. There's so many of them.
Wow.
And when they move, the that kind of copper shimmer.
Can you point
Goes
down a
along
little
with
bit? There we go. Pushing in.
Darlene, can you remind me, are we taking Niskins on the way up?
Stand by.
There it is. Whoa. Well spotted.
All right, time to go.
Negative. We are not.
Coming wide.
Roger.
Coming wide. Oh, that's a tough one to spot too. That was-
They've been all over. It's one of my favorite polykeets. I don't know what it's called. We just passed another one. Oh yeah, the
You gonna restart?
Poor man's poison.
All right, let's see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. A thingamajig? No widgets. Who's its and what's its?
I got 20. Oh, yeah. This spouting nonsense, Greg.
I'm just gonna move my mic a little bit towards you and we can share.
Okay, guys, did you hear about the fight in the kitchen?
No.
A fish got battered.
Yes. Wayne.
I was on a boat that did. Oop, I rest. I was on a boat, and the final addition to the batter for fried fish was actually either like Sprite or club soda.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was actually
Interesting
really
move.
good. It made for a very light and but crisp batter.
Wow, that sounds good. What if you used beer? Could that work too?
Then it would be beer battered fish,
Yes.
Oh, that sounds
Maybe
Delicious.
That's
Exactly.
really why.
which is a thing.
It is a thing.
I'd imagine you could do that with pancakes too. The soda, not the beer.
You could do beer pancakes, I'm sure. But yeah, soda pancakes. Syrup's already in there.
Root beer pancakes.
Root beer pancakes.
All right.
Root beer just in everything, actually.
This
Here I was thinking about club soda mixed with maple syrup.
Oh,
They make
yum.
That
pancakes.
sounds great.
This feels like
Oh, coral.
a change of
It's
terrain.
been a while since I've seen one of those.
Yeah, a couple of tubes.
Gorgonians, right?
Yeah, those are tubes. All right, let's see what we see.
Gabby, I'm chasing you.
I know, I'm coming up. I think I'm chasing you.
Well, I'm chasing you vertically.
Oh, okay, yep.
It's a multi-dimensional chase.
Uh-huh. I think you're actually chasing me, but while you're in front of me.
Kind of. I'm leading the chase.
Yeah, but I'm actually dictating the chase and its speed.
All right, well, if this is a hash run, who's the rabbit? That's the real question.
If this is what?
If this was a hash run, who's the rabbit?
What does a rabbit have to do with it?
One person gets like a bag of flour and goes on the run first.
Gets a bag of flour?
Yeah. And
Excuse-
uses it to leave like turns or like clues.
Oh,
and-
cool.
Yeah, and then everybody else chases him.
I think the scientists. They leave this set of clues on this
Right.
screen thing.
The screen thing.
Yeah.
Is it a touch screen?
It seems to be
It's-
broken.
It's touchable.
I sure can touch it. Doesn't do anything though.
It happens.
Yeah. It's broken.
Yeah. All right, so how did you get new monitors? That's the... Scott lobster. You know, it's really easy to beat the back row at the identification game when the back row does not have a lot of biologists.
That's true.
Darlene, what's your science background?
It's a mishmash. So actually, I did a biology degree, but I don't know anything about the ocean. I actually ended up going
kind
into
of biology?
limnology, which
Oh,
is not
cool.
the study of my family history. It's actually
Yeah.
the study of freshwater systems. And most of the lakes that I worked in had nothing, like no macrofauna in them.
Okay. So you worked on tiny critters and ecology and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. So I worked actually in the Canadian high Arctic, and
neat.
yeah, it was amazing way to spend
So
grad school.
all the big rivers that flow into the Hudson and stuff like that?
So
or?
some of my contemporaries in the lab with me did that, and I actually worked on lakes. So
Okay.
we would go to different islands in the Arctic and survey
Wow.
them. Yeah,
Cool. Oh, that sounds epic.
it was really great. And then, ironically, working on lakes is what led me to work at NASA, because I ended up getting involved with these different analog projects, or this one analog project at in the Canadian Arctic, and then they had me looking at present-day lakes and then a past lake that was about 20 million years old, and
Right.
then
Space lakes.
space lakes, yeah. And then from there, my postdoc at Ames was to look at this one lake in Canada, Pavilion Lake, and that kind of spun into this whole project, and everything kind of went from there. But
Oh, Pavilion Lake was your postdoc.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, so it's been great. Awesome journey. I'm happy to be in the ocean now.
That's super cool, Darlene. That's really awesome.
It's a thing.
Do you know anything about like the Antarctic lakes? The iced over lakes, the sealed up ones?
I do a little bit, yeah. So a lot of the people I worked with in the Arctic worked in the Antarctic too, and I got to go down in 2001.
Oh, I remember you were telling me. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay. And
that
which
was-
lake did you work on?
So I actually didn't work on lakes. I was there for the U.S. Antarctic training program. So actually, funny, I did work on some lakes there, but it wasn't part of my main project. We just kind of went, and part of the training program was to study them. And they were on Bertina Island. They were really, really salty little ponds. So when I say like lakes, there were qualifiers around lakes. So if it was 2 meters or deeper, it was a lake, because the ice cover, for example, in the Arctic was usually about 2 meters deep, and so the ice would reach down to the depths of the lakes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then anything shallower than 2 meters, they would not, a lake would not have the ice cover reach down to its depths, but anything shallower than 2 meters, it would, and so those were ponds. But the ponds were really, they had been there for a while. Like in some cases, they were around 10, 11, 12,000 years old. And the ecology of those ponds were very interesting, and how they changed in response to climate changes was what we were after.
What's the ecology like in a salt water lake
A
and
super
pond?
salty lake. So sometimes, for example, you can get these really saline lakes or high alkalinity lakes, and they can have things like microbialites growing in them.
Okay.
So these rocks, sedimentary rocks that are built as the byproduct of microbial life. That's basically just changing the pH around them as they do their thing, and then precipitating out different minerals. So those kinds of structures we've seen in a number of of lakes. And then in some other salty lakes, you know, there are lots of interesting kind of benthic organisms that take advantage of that environment. Yeah, I mean, it's, and then there's one, I can't remember the name now, it's been so long, where I think they have basically found nothing. The salinity was so high, and it was an Antarctic pond. And it's embarrassing, I can't remember the name of it. It was actually a very seminal publication that came out that talked about this lack of anything within it.
Yeah. I imagine, like, there just not being that much living in them. Like, that would be my first guess. Just
Right.
like, there's only one insect in all of Antarctica.
What is the insect?
It's a little midge.
Oh, right.
And that's it. That's the only one. And there's very few land birds. Like, just a couple, maybe? Maybe just one. There's just, like, not much stuff that lives down there.
It's cold.
It's cold and, yeah.
It's harsh.
Yeah.
Desert.
Desert, some places.
And yet the ocean is really rich. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Miles.
No, that was me. I was just going to mention, I remember having the opportunity to swim in a saltwater pond in the Pacific somewhere, and I don't remember the name, but it was called Jellyfish Lake, and it was a large body of trapped saltwater that had a very high population of jellyfish.
Wait, is this in the Philippines?
I think it could have been. I think it very well could have been. But they evolved with no predators in the pond, so they just they lost their ability to sting.
Oh, so they had no stingers.
Yeah, yeah. So you're swimming in this very high salinity water, which is very easy to float in and very easy to swim in, and you're just pushing jellyfish out of the way.
Right, yeah.
The willies from that.
Well, and they have like a migration. They too have like a diurnal migration, right?
Well,
they go up and down in the water column.
They actually follow the sun and the shade over the pond. So they're obviously, that's how they get their energy, because there's not much else for them to eat. So they photosynthesize and they just follow the.
Wait, they're autotrophic jellies?
I think so. I know they like the warmth of the sun at a minimum.
Right, there is some relationship, and I can't remember what it is either. But the bottom of the lake is actually, you can't go down there, like if you scuba dive or whatever.
Right.
It's actually
it's
anoxic and toxic. Yeah.
Oh, that's super wild.
Yeah.
So you've heard of this lake too, Darlene?
Yes. Actually, I wanted to go. A long time ago, about 20 years ago, not too many people knew about it. And the name of it is, it's in a set of these incredible islands. They're like rounded, beautiful green tufts, out in this crystal turquoise water. And then there's this lake. And now it's actually quite, I think it's quite populous, isn't it, Wayne? Like you can go and take cruises out to go and snorkel there and so forth. Or
there's a swim platform where they supply. I think we actually had to bring our own life vests, our own ski vests that we used to.
Did you go on one of your previous boats?
Yeah.
No, lakes are incredible, and like in the circumpolar Arctic, if you aggregate all the freshwater up there, it makes up about 2% of the world's freshwater. And, most of those lakes and ponds and, rivers.
Time to recover.
Roger that. I'll bring her around.
Okay, we're coming to an end of our
Data,
dive.
we are done with our transect.
I am turning tail 2.
You're putting in a tether wrap if you go that way.
Chris.
Yes, but I'm taking out my 6/8
Thanks for Palau.
Take out the tether wrap, and we'll take out the 6/8 when I lateral.
I could see the P.
I thought it was Palau.
It's Palau, exactly. I could see. I remember it started the P, and it's the exhaustion.
Because I can't take out the tether wrap through the lateral.
I wasn't
so
confident
I can take
enough
out
to
the
say
6/8
that.
wrap.
No, you should have
right.
been. You're super right. Yeah.
That makes sense. I've just never done it that way.
Miles, I just made all that stuff up anyways.
You say it with confidence, and nobody will know.
To answer a viewer's question, we do not have any plans to pick up any rocks before we ascend.
All right. We are stretched out tail to tail, and I am coming off bottom.
Roger.
And Gabby, that actually is a touch screen.
Don't even start with me.
It's the hands-free model.
It's the
Speed of the ship,
hands-free
thank
model.
you so much for all your help the last 2 weeks.
Roger
Yep.
that.
Listening to you.
Let's see.
Ugh,
am
I almost
going
touched
to-
I didn't hold it down long enough. I said we were going to miss listening to you.
Talk about stuff we only kind of know about a little bit.
That and puns. I mean, it's mostly just about the puns.
Oh yeah, it's definitely about the puns.
Puns, yep.
There's still 3 hours of ascent.
We also
Oh
get
yeah,
jealous
we've
about
got
your
plenty
cookies.
of time for puns.
Yeah, hang out.
Don't give up on us so early.
We're going to be listening into drive time radio, don't worry. Safe travels home, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we
Yeah.
have 2 microbial experiments or science?
Negative.
Okay.
That got picked up yesterday.
Do we have Niskins?
Nope.
Nope.
Those have already fired. Did we
No,
pick
they're
up any
not already
rocks?
fired, but we're not doing it.
Not doing
Miles,
it.
a viewer has floated as a suggestion as a name for our jellyfish lake, Koror in Palau. Is that what you found?
I don't know. I just was narrowing it down to country.
I just know it as Jellyfish Lake
Yeah,
in
that's
Palau
that's what I
Islands.
knew it as.
Yeah.
Data,
as
did we
well.
pick up any rocks?
Negative.
Okay, just check.
All we've got is supers and IGTs.
Okay.
That water's going to slow us down.
It's true.
Water's real heavy.
That's
Sam's not here to set me straight.
Water is real heavy though. I mean, it's not real heavy in water, but it is real heavy out of water.
It's pretty much neutral in water.
Is the Norbit on?
The Norbit is not on.
Oh yeah, there's no ground fault.
Yeah. Yep, things are working.
Just
Therefore,
walked
no
in
Norbit.
for the turnover yesterday. Is like, yep, I see Norby's on. Sure is.
All right, so I'm rocking about 15 right now.
Okay, I'm with you. At
And
15.
then once we're about 100 meters off bottom, I'll start to do the lateral to
Okay,
get rid of
and
the
I'll try
6-8.
and keep up with you there.
Yeah. Totes.
So we have started our ascent, and our viewers want to know when our next dive is planned.
Oh. Miles, tell them. Miles will
Let's
be
see,
on it.
Yeah, I will be back on. So I fly to Honolulu on June 22nd to head south towards Samoa, and it'll be a few days into that cruise. So rough guess is June 25th, 26th.
Until then, we have a
Mapping.
about 2-day transit back into Vallejo, 2-day turnover in Vallejo, and
14-day transit.
and then
mapping
transit to Hawaii.
No, it can't be a 14-day. It's like a 10-day mapping transit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're doing straight or whether they have some targets that they're hitting.
There's some. I think there might be some Nat Geo drop cams and some UCSD. Oh, I'm not going to say that. Some buoys, some wave riders that are going to be deployed. I forget the institution that they came from. But I have to meet the ship on the 22nd, so that doesn't give them a whole lot
Well,
of
if you
time.
fly on the 22nd, you may actually be meeting the ship on the 23rd, Hawaii.
True.
So the short answer to your question is in about 3 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, a little more than 2
weeks?
weeks.
A little more than 2 weeks. During the 3rd week from now. 3 weeks from now.
It'll be summer, officially summer.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait until post.
And you guys go straight through to October, is that right?
Yeah, mid-October.
That'll be great. And then is your last port in San Francisco, or do you come to port in San Francisco then take off somewhere else?
The final port will be San Pedro, but when we return from the southwestern Pacific, we'll hit San Francisco and then transit down to San Pedro.
Yeah, we've got
that's
some
great.
work after.
That's great. Well, I hope you guys end up at the Exploratorium. That would be really fun.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah,
We,
it's an excellent pier.
We'll be in port a few days before Hardly Strictly and miss it. We'll like set out just as Hardly Strictly starting. So close.
So, Darlene, we had some information about those jellies in the lakes. Someone suggests that they have indwelling algae or bacteria that provide fuel for the jellies.
Symbionts.
Make sense?
So they
That's
are
so nice.
solar-powered jellies.
Solar-powered jellies.
They could be.
It's so lovely that everybody calls in and helps out, you know, with the
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah,
Or
we
types
can,
in, I guess.
We can describe a place and not have to Google it to get the answer. It comes to us.
So I've been watching this for a while. I'm pretty sure that the Argus heading's off.
Really? Oh, yeah, I've been relying on that.
For those not in on the joke, the Argus heading is basically hardwired to a magnetic compass in Argus that should not be there because it's surrounded by steel.
And that didn't get replaced when the whole
That was
vehicle
put
was
in.
rewired.
That was put in.
Mer.
Oh, I rest. But appropriate. So yeah, but you have to go port. Okay.
Greg, viewers want to know, do the ROV smell funny after they visit thermal vents?
Yep, they smell like sulfur.
Yeah, especially if there have been water samples. Or the drawers have been opened.
Or we sat down in the mud, or we're anywhere near the vents at all.
That's a hard yes.
What about when you guys sample biology? Does it ever come up smelling?
Funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, are you talking about vent biology? Because vent
No.
biology definitely smells funny. Other biology just smells like biology.
Yeah.
Especially if it's on the vehicle for too long and you didn't know that you sampled it. And then you're just like, why does the vehicle smell like fish?
I think
There was a scent for like 3 dives, and it turned out that there was